Hey everyone, look up. That could be a Chinese drone watching you. You're watching Techstrong Gang. Hi everyone, happy Friday. It's Alan Schimmel for Techstrong Gang. Wow, we've got a full house of gang members today and some great content, including two field reports, one from over in Europe at Black Hat Europe with Mitch, and one from an AI summit report that Mike Vizard attended down up in New York this week. So, Techstrong Gang still remains on the road. It feels like we've been on the road forever. Before we jump into it, though, let's introduce you to our gang members today. As I mentioned, joining us from London, where he's been attending Black Hat Europe this week, is Futurum VP Research, Mitch Ashley. Hey, Mitch, how are you?
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
That's the best I could do in terms of an accent.
Okay. Hey, you go with what you got.
Welcome from rainy, cloudy, dark London.
Well, it's supposed to be rainy in London.
It is. True to form.
Good. Welcome. Glad you can join us, Mitchell.
Thanks much.
And then, as I mentioned, joining us from, he was recently at the AI Summit up in New York. Not as quite a commute for him as it was for Mitch, is our Chief Content Officer, Mike Vizard. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm well. Hey, I made it from my house to Javits in under 40 minutes, so I was not too bad.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not during rush hour, I take it.
Oh, definitely. Rush hour, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Really? Through the Lincoln Tunnel?
No Lincoln Tunnel, I'm north, so I'm up in Westchester.
Oh, you came over the GW. Yeah. Well, the Javits Center is right by the Lincoln Tunnel. One of my favorite places to hang out, right around that Javits Center. Though it's actually really nice by Hudson Yards and everything else. But all right, I digress. Let's jump back from New York out to California, where we understand from our California contingent, they've gotten some rain.
Yes, a lot.
Yeah? Well, I guess we'll defer to royalty and go with John Swartz first.
Oh, gosh. Hey, hi, everybody. Hey, you want to feel older? I got an invite from Microsoft yesterday for their 50th anniversary. They turned 50 years old on April 4th next year. They're going to be doing, I guess, parties around the country, but doesn't that make you feel old?
That's not right. No, it's not. That's not right. Oh, maybe it is. 1975.
I got the same invite.
Mike got the same, yeah.
Yes, 1975. That's about right.
Yeah, the Apple's going to turn 50 in 2026. I believe they were founded in 1976.
Yeah. Well, down here in Boca is where they obviously used to do the IBM PC, and they actually have the room where Bill Gates signed the DOS licensing agreement with IBM. And if you want to do like a press conference, so it's now called the Brick, the old IBM facility is the Boca Raton Innovation Campus. And if you're a tenant there and you have a press conference, you could actually do it in the room where Bill Gates signed that DOS agreement. I guess right down here in Boca Raton, the center of the tech universe.
Why do they do it down there, by the way?
Well,
yeah, that's interesting.
So there was a guy, and I forget his name. There's a technology middle school named after him right down here.
I think it was Don Estridge.
Don Estridge, that's right. Don Estridge Middle School. Don Estridge kind of headed up the IBM PC division, and they were down here. For whatever reason, they were down here. They did a lot of the, all of the work for it was down here. And Boca Raton is what it is because of IBM. They built better schools here than they did in the rest of the surrounding areas of Florida because IBM put money into it and demanded it. And that set off that whole chain. Now, when IBM pulled out of here in the late 80s, and they got out of the IBM PC, I guess, business, the town went into a depression for many years, economically, and became known more for just pump and dump stock people. But such is life in Florida. Anyway, let me take off my Boca Raton historian hat and move over to Lisa Martin. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Hopefully a little warmer
Alan.
today.
Warmer today, definitely. Got my cozy sweater on today, enjoying the rain because I didn't have to drive anywhere yesterday, so that was good. But looking forward to this exciting conversation, and particularly the drones, because I was just in New York City, and big news story over there, among several, was the drones over New Jersey. The size of SUVs.
Yeah, the sizes. Wow. Ooh.
Yes.
I don't think people realize that. We'll come back to it. Well, jumping now though from California to Texas. When she's all decorated for Christmas, very cool.
Very nice.
Hook them horns, huh?
Yes, hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns. So I've got tickets to the Orange Bowl, which is the national semifinal game this year. So I'm hoping.
Nice.
Well,
Last
could be
weekend
Texas, could be Georgia. We'll see.
broke my heart.
Yeah, it was a tough
overtime
game.
to Georgia, but I don't think anyone can say we don't belong in the SEC.
No one ever
said
said
that.
that.
Oh,
No one ever
wow.
said that.
Our
Oklahoma
rivals
maybe.
The only
but,
people
yeah.
who said
Oh,
that
Oklahoma
are in
doesn't.
Tuscaloosa. Right? And where are they right now? Watching. Okay. But I digress again. And it's not Aloha, it's
Ahola.
Ahola Award.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes. Good morning.
it's good to see you, Ann. Haven't seen you in a while. It's good. We've been missing. I've been on the road.
Yes.
Anyway, I think that's all of us, right? So let's jump into our first story here. Mitch, you've been at Black Hat Europe. You know, traditionally, Black Hat Europe is not quite the size of Black Hat US. But, you know, things have been changing on that front, especially as, you know, you get more regulation and more action, quite frankly, coming up out of the EU there. So give us a report. How's it been? What's news there?
Well, in some way, first of all, it's a very vibrant community over here. It's much smaller, but the show floor, the booths are very crowded. A lot of people here. It's a 2-day event plus the training, you know, pre-day. So it's not quite as many days. It's not, you know, a couple with any hackathons or anything. Here's the vibe. Not the whole conference, but it's almost been taken over by prompt hacking for Gen AI. There's a ton of sessions about that, about how to take over LLMs, you know, Gen AI type applications, data poisoning. I didn't introduce that. So there's a number of talks about that. Another interesting session is there's one group was talking about some things they found in the Apple M chip, at a hardware level vulnerability that they were pursuing, and there was a talk about that. A lot of discussions about how AI is helping hackers, personalizing phishing attacks, and we're really just at the beginning of that. I think they're really thinking that's going to be a major issue in 2025. We'll hear a lot more about it because it'll be happening as well. So it's, you know, there's AI here. There's also, you know, what kind of good things are going to be happening with AI? How's it going to help us with security? And of course, security is a very data intensive business. So there's lots of discussion about ML and generative AI as well. So it's a fun conference. The keynote was actually done by Frederic Doucet, who was the geopolitical professor at University of Paris 8, which is kind of an interesting timing because, you know, Barnier's government got the vote of no confidence, but at the same time they've got this €1 billion cybercrime bill coming up that they're trying to get passed for the healthcare system. So that was part of the keynote. I didn't get to catch it, but it would have been it's one of those kind of rug pull out from under you type speeches when you're here representing a big effort and suddenly your government's, got a vote of no confidence. So it's kind of interesting doing this the European way. But there aren't as many product announcements here, primarily because
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, it has a more of a vibe, kind of like the old.
I was just going to say that, Mitch. It sounds more like the Black Hats you and I used to do. It's still secure,
exactly.
Where the exhibits and the vendors really were on the back burner compared to the research and some of the vulnerabilities and stuff that were disclosed.
Very much so. One big change is the show floor is at least half people in sort of the AppSec software supply chain, not just traditional security. I don't know if it's taken over, but 3 years ago that wouldn't have been true. There'll be some, but not like there is here. So it's a pretty dominant conversation here of, and of course, people worried or discussing about the Cyber Resiliency Act in Europe and the PCI DSS 4.0, and lots of things are kind of coming to fruition, pushing SBOMs to the front of the stack or top of the stack, and how organizations have to get going on that and not sitting back, because the EU also had a change in the product liability for software and for internet services that you can be sued for that. So if you ship vulnerable software, you potentially can be liable for that. We've talked about that on some other Techstrong events, but
got it. Very cool. Very cool. Overall, worthwhile trip, because I know it's for you from Colorado. It's a bit of a trip.
Yeah, I just got to click my heels and poof, I was in London. So
Is it me? But every time we figure out something that is going to be more secure, whether it's the AMD thing, and I think there was a lot of conversation this week about MFA because Microsoft had a flawed implementation, and people may not understand how to actually do that correctly. But I feel like every time we say we got something that's going to make things more secure, it's about 9 months later before some researcher decides, oh yeah, by the way, here's some way around that thing.
Oh yeah. Always, there's something in Windows. There's a whole talk about hidden transformers in some window features and ways to thwart around kind of the best security feature or best fit security feature. I think one of the other general senses, Mike, to your point, is it's not getting better. Security is not getting better. It is, if anything, the mountain of data that we're collecting and processing is just growing. We can't hire enough people. You can't scale people to meet the problem. We can't hire people to meet the problem. So it's I would say that's depressing, but it's kind of like, okay, when are we going to see the hockey stick start to bend? Because right now it's flatlining, growing fast, just to the right, not up to improvement.
It's computers. I mean, were you expecting stuff not to have bugs or, vulnerabilities? They're not going to go away. And we test more of them. We find more of them. Overall, I think we're better at it than we were, let's say, 10 years ago. But, like take this Apple M chip. Is anyone surprised? I mean, if you've been in security and technology, this is the nature of the beast.
It very much so is. I think, there's a lot of, dare I call, optimism about the regulations that are starting to come into effect. There's things that aren't hitting yet. I think that's probably too much hope being put on that. People aren't over exuberant about AI solving all our problems for us quite yet, but maybe it's just because security people are more skeptical than your typical bunch.
Yeah, I'm not sure I wholeheartedly agree with you, Alan, on that security point, because I would say like 4 years ago, we decided that, oh yeah, now we're going to focus on security and take it seriously, maybe 4 or 5. And everything that happened before that, we said, oh, well, that was because we weren't thinking about security.
Wait, who said that?
I'm saying this from the chip vendors to Microsoft to every vendor out there.
Trustworthy computing. What year was that, Mitch? 2005.
We are gonna focus on security and make it happen. And
Mike, this is a migratory pattern. They say this every 3 years. You know what I mean?
I know. So it's just disappointing, is what I'm saying, and things, don't feel a lot better.
But that's the life of a security person. It is disappointing. No one listens to us. We see the same things go over and over again. Everyone says how important it is, but then they get T-Rex arms that don't reach their pockets. This has been I'm in security 30 years. Nothing's changed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of that, Alan, I was meeting with a vendor today who was kind of coming out of the early friendly customers, working with their product and going to market. And this was his fourth company doing the same thing. It's all around, analysis of log data, security data, and how do we solve the volume of all that to look for signal versus noise. So in an entrepreneurial sense, I guess the problems haven't going away. You can just keep creating companies to solve the same problem with new technology.
Well, look, take logs, for instance, Mitch. How many reincarnations of basically log analysis have we seen? It was SIM, there's CNAP, there's this straight up log analysis, there's, the whole Splunk sort of, at its heart, what was Splunk security? Looking at logs.
Yeah, that's where we first saw Splunk. Was that a Black Hat?
Yeah.
Way back.
Nice black shirts with cool sayings on it. But, and here we still are. Now we have AI that looks at logs, so we don't have to look at the logs ourselves. And we call it
But it's the new attack vector.
And we call it observability.
And now we have one more thing to secure that people are hacking into. So,
but stuff goes round and round. And it comes back around. And every 3-4 years, we're going to get serious about security. Microsoft just said it again this month. It's like Halley's Comet. Well, Halley's Comet's 500 years. It's a little bit more frequent than Halley's Comet.
That's a lot of your gestation cycle before.
Yeah, but
all right. So every time somebody has a security announcement about how they're more focused about it, I'm just going to channel Bullwinkle and say, this time for sure.
That's right, little buddy. With Rocky.
Oh, jeez. That was
Here
Rocky.
we got Boris and Natasha say, they're bad men. They're bad men. Come, we go now. Catch squirrel.
You spit squirrel.
Let's go get squirrel. Boris and Natasha. They were quite the characters. Anyway, Mitch, I'm glad you got to go there, though, and thanks for the report on Black Hat London. Let's take a quick break and look up in the sky. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's an SUV. No, it could just be a Chinese drone. You're watching Techstrong Gang.
Modernize your business to fuel innovation and elevate customer experiences. With the Builder Community Hub, AWS and its partner network provide essential tools for transforming applications and infrastructure to fully leverage the cloud. Discover free trials, in-depth demos, and essential resources to empower DevOps engineers and developers to deliver value faster and more reliably. Visit the Builder Community Hub to learn more.
All right, guys, we're back with the much anticipated conversation about drones. And there's two storylines going on, and we're not sure they're related. But one is the Chinese national was arrested at SFO. Allegedly, he had some footage from Vandenberg Air Force Base. And this is not the first time this has happened. There's been Chinese folks arrested and sent to jail for taking photos of shipyards where the U.S. naval fleet is in Virginia. And this seems to be maybe part of this low-tech spying trend that maybe started with those balloons last year or the year before that. But also in New Jersey, everybody is flipping out because there are reports of these drones flying around in the evening, and they are rather large. And the local police department has attempted to put their own drones up to catch these drones to no avail. So it suggests that they are fairly sophisticated. And meanwhile, the United States government and the Army saying they don't know anything about this stuff. So they may be, for purposes of national security, maybe not saying what they do or do not know, but starting to feel a little like Orson Welles and War of the Worlds in New Jersey all over.
Yeah,
again.
you stole my line. Damn it. I was going to say that. 1939, New Jersey. Thanks,
So,
Mike.
Lisa, you were out here in New York, but, what's your sense of what's going on?
It's crazy because I live, not too far from Vandenberg Space Force Base, and obviously the issues there. And that drone was flying for nearly an hour, capturing images of a lot of SpaceX proprietary information. But in New Jersey, it's a huge story, one of the huge stories going on. And I was just in Manhattan. But the crazy thing is, a lot of this is being spotted by the public. And these drones are massive. Their reports are they're the size of SUVs. It's happening every night. So much footage from the public. The FBI is investigating, the Pentagon is weighing in. But what's interesting is they say right now there's no evidence that they're coming from a foreign adversary, or might, to your point, maybe they're withholding information on purpose, but they don't know the source of the drones. They don't know where they're coming from, and they don't know where they're going. A lot of the public, at least in New York City, is of the mindset of the authorities need to shoot them down. So it's a really interesting, kind of scary proposition because there's so little that we know, and the authorities are not being able to be proactive; they're being reactive.
The authorities are saying we can't shoot them down because we need to take them down safely, but they're not describing how it is that we're supposed to do that. But
Exactly.
Wasn't there a New Jersey state senator who called for a limited state of emergency during the sighting
Yes.
of all these mysterious drones?
According to ABC
Yeah.
News, yes, there is a New
Yeah.
Jersey state senator calling for this. I mean, part of this just sounds too National Enquirer-ish for me. But are they UFOs from aliens? I could you imagine the Chinese flying an SUV? Oh, there's one, Mitchell. They're over London.
I'm not scared of a one-off. I think the drone swarms are maybe more my nightmare scenario where they're just like multiple ones collaborating, and just like an army of them. But that to me is a little more terrifying. But I mean, it's not like I would not be scared if it was over my house,
An SUV
It just-
size, yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. But
I'm a little more scared of the 10 guys in trucks with guns hanging out in a field waiting to shoot down drones. That's going to end badly.
Drone tipping.
Well, just remember, if it flies, it might be a spy.
can't they just
So-
get another drone and then have it go over it with a net? Or where's
Oh,
the
yeah.
like they've trained American Eagles to take drones out of the sky. Like where are those attack birds?
Where's the rail gun? Doesn't Vandenberg Air Force Base have like a rail gun to shoot the damn thing down?
Yeah. And
There's all sorts of advanced drone technology to take it down, right, by sound or
Yeah.
other means. It doesn't have to necessarily be violent.
I think that those technologies only exist in the Air Force Base, and I think the Army bases here in New Jersey probably have them, but I'm not sure like Newark Airport has them or anybody else. So maybe, it will come to that, right? We're going to have to like start giving people anti-drone technology to keep their prying eyes out of the sky.
So the FAA has authority over drones in airspace.
Yes,
Is
they
that
do.
correct?
Yes.
So in a sense, do they have some sort of air defense for drones? I don't know this.
I don't know if they have air defense, but I remember when I bought my drone, you had to fill out a thing for the FAA,
Mhm.
and then they'll
Right.
give you specific no-fly areas and stuff where you're not allowed.
So-
Now,
So
but
to
if you outlaw
register, you have to
guns,
be at
only
least-
outlaws have guns. So if
Right.
these people are
Well, it's
up
so-
to no good, you think they care about the law?
No. What is the requirements have to be at least 13 and a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident, something like that. I mean, that's not going to stop whoever wants to do what they want to do, but
Yeah.
it's
So-
just go ahead.
At what
Go ahead,
point are
sorry.
we going to be embarrassed when it turns out to be a couple of 13-year-olds hanging out in a garage?
Well,
I think
the
it
one
could
thing
be- It
these
could
aren't
be-
consumer drones, though. We know that when the Pentagon has confirmed that they're not consumer.
They're not. No,
the
it
site.
could be someone working on a Jetson flying car. I thought we'd have flying cars by
It
2025.
could be commercial interest. They want to compete with SpaceX. I mean,
Could be that too. I mean, who knows? I mean, look, in New Jersey, there was a time where Thomas Edison had his lab there, right, Mike?
That is
And-
true.
And didn't Lucky Lindy take off from New Jersey
He
somewhere?
did.
He
He
did.
did. Do you suppose that there's a sense of paranoia, though, in terms of our feelings about China and spying, since there's so many instances? So therefore, we kind of triangulate this into this kind of mysterious conspiracy of being spied upon or being endangered by an inanimate object?
Absolutely. I think the more I read something that tells me to think something, the less I want to think it, the more I'm questioning why am I thinking it? And who benefits from us being scared of China? That's the question I always, who benefits if this is actually true? So I try to approach it with that skepticism, but we just don't know. And the speculation is sometimes worse than what the reality is.
I think it's just boys with toys. I think that's what most of this is.
I think it's
Let's
a
be real.
SpaceX competitor, honestly.
I think we got to
You
watch
are
out for
right.
that
Paranoia on the
military
East
drone
Coast, though.
industrial
No,
complex.
no,
Is that-
no, but there
Oh,
is a
geez. Wow, nice one,
there
Mike.
is a
Good one.
point here about red baiting and the Red Scare. You know, this is
Yeah,
right
that's
out
what I
of
was
the
alluding
Cold War
to. Yeah.
handbook of the 50s
Mhm.
and 60s.
Well,
Except we've replaced
1939
China
and War of the
now.
Worlds, right? Same scenario, same
Well, but
political heightened
if
political
I were
anxiety.
You know, they would never pick New Jersey because the pollution would certainly kill them there, as happened in the original. Anyway, you know, I think it'll remain a
Invasion of the
mystery. Stay tuned. We'll have a reality show on this, you know, in the future. But for now, it's going to have to watch out there. But do be careful that a drone doesn't land on you.
Hey, drone wars is coming to a show near you.
Absolutely. Let's take a break here on Techstrong Gang, and we're going to come back and we're going to get an update from Mike from his recent trip to the AI Summit. More AI news. You're watching Techstrong Gang.
Discover Techstrong Group, the epicenter of tech innovation. We're your go-to for reaching IT leaders and practitioners worldwide. Our secret? Impactful content that sparks awareness, engagement, and top-quality leads. With us, you'll access editorial websites, streaming videos, virtual events, custom content, analyst research, and more. Join our satisfied clients. Let's revolutionize your tech journey. Contact us today and tell your story to the world in the most powerful way with Techstrong Group.
All right, folks, we're back and we're talking about this AI summit that occurred in New York City this week over the Javits Center. And it was billed as a conference to kind of cut through the hype and say who's actually using AI for what. And two trends became apparent early on. One is most of the successful use cases are automating existing processes. There's very few actual brand new AI applications that are driving some totally new use case. And then the second thing was the folks who are ahead are the folks who had the best data management practices in place already. So in a lot of instances, they're no doubt they're smart, but they're also got lucky because they happen to have their data house in order and they were able to take advantage of this. For instance, AstraZeneca was there and they were talking about how, you know, they need to come up with another 30 patents that they can then build drugs out of in the next 10 years. And they want to drive $80 billion worth of revenue. And so they were making heavy use of AI within their operations to accelerate everything from pure research to clinical trials. And they were showing exactly how they went about doing that. And that was pretty awesome. And you saw a lot of the financial services sector folks there. But everybody else seems to be struggling with the data management side of this equation and figuring out how to actually manage this whole thing. It was interesting. Airbnb was there with Stripe talking about how they're actually making available an open source platform to go tackle that issue that they created for that very purpose. And they said that it cuts down the amount of time it takes to build AI models by 2/3 because the data is now managed almost like a service. And then there were other folks that were just talking about, you know, possibilities and things that were interesting. A small startup there called Riva was taking pictures of people's faces and determining, basically they called it a dermatologist in a box, but instead of giving you a prescription, they would make the perfect compound for your skin tone that would then be part of your health skin regimen. And then NASA was there and they were just talking about what they were doing with simulations, and they were taking the data from a gaming engine that they created for running around the moon as part of the training for this Artemis program, and they were feeding that into AI models, and that was how they were going to go and kind of get their data for the next mission. And then they had some other interesting ideas. It's still early, but they want to build, what they call a doc in a box. And basically, it would be a chat GPT doctor that would be in your computer systems in the spaceship. And if you got a rash or something, you would consult that. And Alan, before you go there, it is not the emergency medical holographic unit from Star Trek, but it's a step in that direction. So, it's a thought process. And so it was a great show in the sense that it talked about what was real. And then there were some interesting ideas about, things that could be done in the future. And, I was only there for the day, but I enjoyed that. And then finally, shout out to Etsy. But for all you folks who are Christmas shopping out there, Etsy's using AI to help you figure out what gifts to buy people based on what you previously bought them. And then they're serving up some suggestions that go with that. And I know Amazon's all over that, but the Etsy approach was a little more sociable, shall we say. So anyway.
Oh, and they do it well. I bought a lot of gifts on Etsy this year.
I did too.
They got you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, my husband will buy whatever he wants whenever he wants it. So he's very hard to shop for. And it was like, okay, something
how
he
that
doesn't know
is.
exists.
I'm one of those.
Hey, Mike,
He's a gadget guy.
Question for you. Sorry again. Question for you. There's a lot of discussion here and there about AI being in kind of the prototype proof of concept stage and having trouble getting into production. Was that much of a conversation there about how do you push those experiments and things like that?
And that was
Out the door?
the system integrators were hot and heavy on that particular subject. And they were like saying, we got to move these things into the next wave. I think when you look at the people who have stuff in production that's meaningful, it has a profound impact, but they're a small number. And I go back to the fact that, they just happen to have their data house in order and now they're able to move forward. Everybody else has all these kind of pilots in the stage, but when they want to move into production, they don't have the data to drive it. And they don't have the processes. And it's all the little IT gotchas that are holding people up. There's nobody standing around going, I don't think I believe in this AI stuff. I think, well, given the nature of the conference, but everybody there seemed to be having struggling with something, whether it was skills or the infrastructure or the cost of things became an issue too. So it wasn't, and I don't think anybody was walking away going, AI is a slam dunk, and it's going to take them a little while to kind of like really drive this. So people are believers, but they've become more realistic about what it's going to take to make it happen.
There's also a cost shock factor. Many people are building them and they start to pilot it or whatever, and they get the bill for the GPU usage that ran for a weekend, and like, well, we got to do this more efficiently. I think maybe they're retrenching to say, how do we do this in a cost-effective way too?
Yeah, and I think part of that is also the infrastructure scam, right? They charge you for the token on the inbound, and that's the input, and then they charge you for the token on the outbound, and that's the output. So every AI action has 2 transactions to it. So yeah, that adds up quickly.
Kind of interesting how the venue and the AI show in New York is much more practical and grounded in terms of the experience and what they're sharing versus, say, a show in Las Vegas or California, which was, soaked in hype. Because a lot of the things you mentioned, Mike, are what we come across, right? When we look for examples of how people are using AI within companies, is very limited and it's based on those who are best at data management and the little things that are hiccups that kind of get in the way. But it was just interesting to see a different kind of point of view, actually a more real point of view than what I'm accustomed to seeing out here or in Vegas.
I think that's some of the DNA leftover fingerprints from interop days. Remember, Alan, at the Javits Center? Mm-hmm. That was the standard go to interop. Hit the show floor there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Well, I will give a shout out to New York. There's not a lot of tolerance for the over the hype conversation, right? You get, to be fair to these folks running the conference, people walking around were senior folks and vice presidents and above, and there was like 4,000 people at this event. But they weren't the kind of folks that were going to be easily wowed by, a little smoke and mirror, because you could tell they've been around the block more than once.
I'll give you a real life example. Last night, I went shopping to get my younger son a pair of shoes on Olakai. And I've got the shoes he wanted, and it was because they use Shopify, it automatically sucked my information in. And I hit buy and done. And then I realized I was having them sent to my house rather than my son is in Texas, in Abilene. And because it never even gave me it just said, boom, 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 done. So I saw I got to change this. And I went to the help and it said, use our AI assisted chat to solve your problem. So I went on the AI assisted chat and I said, I need to change the address of a delivery of an order. Here's the order number. And it was very polite. A very polite AI responded to me and said, Alan, no problem. We have this order number. Yes, we see it is going to your address. And I put my address down. And it said, is this correct? Yes. What do you want to do? I want to get this forwarded to a different address, or just return this, cancel this order. I'll make a new order, whatever, I gave it lots of options. And basically all it could tell me was, thank you for contacting us. We're going to have someone contact you. Thank you for it did absolutely nothing. It was just a front. Hi, how are you? But couldn't do anything on the back end. And then, of course, today I got an email message that my order has already been processed and is on its way to me here at my house, which now I have to cancel it and reorder it to do the Abilene one. So, that, John, is, I think, a lot, even Mike, with what you see, they tout these AI-enabled programs and so forth, but they really, in my mind, an AI program should have been able to just change the address, the mailing address. That's not a hard thing.
I'm sure there are ones out there that can. What you just carried was something that's just disconnected from an actual business process.
Right? Yeah. Anyway, shame on you, Olakai.
All they really do is tell you what's in the help documentation. That's all it
does. Yeah. And, this is our AI chat. Well, I want the non-AI. Give me the dumb chat, and let's see what that could do for me. Anyway.
Well, I like the AI
to have fun with it.
You only do 3 things.
I like to have fun with it.
Cheeseburger.
Tell them I love them. I like to ask them how their day is. I like to just mess
I
with
do
them.
that to Alexa.
I like it.
Alexa's always very nice to me.
Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Get weird with it.
My father-in-law does that to anybody who cold calls him. He has a long chat with them, asks them all kinds of stuff, just keeps them on the phone because he's like, he's retired. I'm happy to waste their time.
Is it really your father-in-law or is it an AI? His agent.
Oh, wow.
All right.
If I taught him how to do that with AI, he might be very excited.
Yeah, imagine that. I think that's going to wrap up today's Techstrong Gang. What a great week it's been. It's a great Friday. We've got a lot of Techstrong TV coming at you immediately following. Then take this long weekend off because guess what? Next week is the week before Christmas. Believe it or not, crazy. From all of us here at Techstrong Gang, have a great weekend. Hopefully you'll watch us before Christmas, but if not, season's greetings, as they say. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. But we'll be saying that all next week. For now, though, on behalf of Mike and Mitch and John and Ann, and of course Lisa, this is Alan Schimmel. We're out. Hey everyone, it's Sunny.
And share.
Ladies and gentlemen, tech enthusiasts and future gazers, gather round. The biggest, boldest, most mind-blowing predictions for 2025 are coming your way at the Predict 2025 virtual event on January 9th.
Oh, Sonny, you're predicting something again. Last time you tried this, you said Laserdiscs were the future. How'd that work out for you?
Hey, Cher. Not every prediction's a hit, but that's why we've got the real experts this time. Top analysts, visionaries, and tech leaders sharing what's going to rock our world in 2025.
So no sunny predictions this time? No flying toasters making a comeback?
Very funny, Cher. But seriously, we're talking AI breakthroughs, cybersecurity game changers, the future of DevOps, cloud innovations, and so much more.
And what about my favorite prediction, a smart mirror that tells you how fabulous you look every morning? That's real innovation.
You're already ahead of the tech share. But if you want to hear the really big stories in tech for 2025, you've got to tune in on January 9th. The event kicks off at 8:45 a.m. Eastern and runs until 2:30 p.m.
And the best part, it's all virtual. No stuffy conference rooms, no long commutes. Just grab your coffee, your laptop, and join us from anywhere in the world.
You know what else? It's not just predictions. It's insights, strategies, and a whole lot of fun.
Well, Sonny, if this event is as good as you say, maybe they'll finally name a technology after you, like the Sonny 2.0, predicting your jokes before you tell them.
That's a good one, Cher. But the real joke is if you're missing out on this. So don't miss Predict 2025.
That's right. Mark your calendars, January 9th, 8:45 a.m. Eastern. Be there or you'll miss the biggest scoop on the future of tech.
See you at Predict
2025.
Be there.